welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, we're back in the Kepler 444 star system. So last week I talked about the Kepler 444 star system and its three stars, Kepler 444a and Kepler 444b and c. Now, the last time I talked about specifically the stars, which is the orange dwarf and the two red dwarfs. Now, I'm going to be talking about the exoplanets in the Kepler 444 star system. So, there are 5 exoplanets in the Kepler 444 star system, and all of them are in the main Kepler 444a star, which is the orange dwarf star. And these are Kepler 444b, A, B, AC, AD, AE, and AF. And they are sort of small planets, as all of them are smaller than the Earth by a lot. So first we're going to go to Kepler 444b, which is a Taurid planet which is extremely hot. It takes 3.6 days to orbit the Kepler 444a, and you can see this is the surface of Kepler 444b. It is a 2 to 3 rotation to orbit with Kepler 444a, which is we don't actually know the actual rotation of the planet, so this is actually what Space Engine thinks of it. And the Space Engine also thinks of the atmosphere composition being mostly xenon, Xenon. It's mostly almost 1,000 degrees Celsius, which is supposedly hotter than Venus, and it's 39% the size of the Earth, 5% the mass of the Earth, and it has an ESI of 25%, almost 25%. It's approximately 6.2 million kilometers away from Kepler 444a, and was discovered in 2015 by the transit method, which, if you don't know about the transit method, it's basically when the planet passes by the star. People usually discover planets if they notice the star's light and luminosity just dims for a specific amount of time, which they assume it comes from an exoplanet that is transiting in front of the star. So that's how they discover exoplanets, using the transit method. If they discover the star's light slightly dims for a specific period of time. So that's how they managed to find Kepler 444b. And they did with the other Kepler 444 exoplanets. So let's land on it and see. It has a very, very thin atmosphere, which is this. It's very thin. You don't even see the atmosphere at all. Although it looks like a cool surface with lots of craters everywhere. Kind of looks like the moon. So much craters everywhere. So it looks like Mercury, but way hotter than Mercury. So let's go to Kepler 444c, which takes 4 days to orbit Kepler 444 and takes 3 days to rotate. Its ESI is slightly more at 26.5% diameter. It is larger than Kepler 444b at 6,377 kilometers, or 50% the size of the Earth. The gravity is just 40% of the Earth as well, meaning you will weigh less because of the lower gravity. It's also cooler than Kepler 444b at 800 degrees Celsius, still more than Venus, though. And this is what it was also discovered in 2015, again with the transit method. You know what that is. So let's go land on Kepler 444c. It is a very hot planet. You can see it's glowing red facing towards the star because it is over 1,000 degrees on the daylight side. And the atmosphere composition is sulfur dioxide. But it's also very thin, just like Kepler 444b. And it looks like it's also cratered as well because, yet again, it doesn't have an atmosphere because it's so close to the star, and solar radiation just not good for the atmosphere. And this is its cratered surface, just like Kepler 444b. So let's go to Kepler 444d. So Kepler 444d is slightly larger than Kepler 444c, but just 200 kilometers. It's 51% the size of the Earth, taking 6 days to orbit, but unlike Kepler 444b and c, this is tidally locked, meaning you'll have eternal daylight and eternal night times. and takes 6 days to orbit, and has a 275 degrees, which is cooler than Kepler 444b and c. But still, it's not livable at all, obviously. The ESI is just 23%, which is actually lower than Kepler 444b and c. And the diameter is 6,500 kilometers with a mass. It's actually really dense as well. It's 2.92 of the mass as well. And this is what Kepler 444d looks like. 13% gravity, meaning you'll weigh less again. It's also glowing red facing towards Kepler 444a because the daylight temperatures reach over 700 degrees Celsius, which is hotter than Venus's temperature. And this is what it looks like. It also has a cratered surface, just like Kepler 444b and c, which is not that exciting though. So let's go to Kepler 444e, which is also has no atmosphere, and you can see these don't have atmospheres. So the Kepler 444e is also very hot. It's slightly glowing red because of, obviously, the star, and has a temperature of 192 degrees Celsius, taking 7.7 days to orbit, and again, it's tidally locked. It's similar to Kepler 444d, except it is slightly larger, slightly colder, and it has less mass and has more, and its ESI is more at just 27%. And also has a very similar gravity to Kepler 444d as well. So if you look at the surface, it is volcanically active, slightly with lots of volcanoes, but overall just very cratered. It has some small hills here, but mostly volcanoes and craters and hills, and that's it. Again, looks like Mercury as well. You can see it is tidally locked and was discovered in 2015. We know that. And finally, the only planet with an actual atmosphere in the Kepler 444 star system is Kepler 444f. Sadly, it's not habitable, and it's also hotter than Kepler 444d and e, despite being farther. It takes 9 days to orbit Kepler 444a, and taking 5 days to rotate. It's 64% the size of the Earth, with a mass of just 20%. The Earth, and ESI, it's the highest in the system, 32%. Definitely you should not live there because it's very hot. The gravity is half of the Earth at just 50%, and it has an atmosphere unlike the other 4 planets with either thin or just non-existent atmospheres. And its atmosphere composition is 99% carbon dioxide and 0.964% sulfur dioxide with small traces of argon in there. And this is Kepler 444f with a thick atmosphere as well. Let's land on Kepler 444f and see what it looks like. Unlike Kepler 444b, c, d, and e, this one has barely any craters because of its actually having an atmosphere. Has hills everywhere, but it's a very arid planet with no signs of life at all. So sorry, there's no life on Kepler 444 star system. You should maybe look at Kepler 186f, but they might not have life at all. So you can see it has tons of hills. It's very flat with lots of mountains, and that's what Kepler 444f looks like. So anyways, thank you so much for watching this part 2 of Kepler 444 star system. If you want to see more exoplanet tours, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.